really know much about them. They're kind of an unknown in the women's basketball community. Trying to dig up some old VHS footage if we can, but no, obviously the excitement continues to grow from the day we got it set. It's just kind of been building up to it. So excited that we're just a day out now and being able to do it. Ticket sales are going good. I talked to Coach Auriemma this morning. There is a game time change. I'm sure Mario got that out to accommodate ESPN. So now we'll get to work. We were off yesterday, so we'll get to the practice floor later today and do a day prep. And then a little bit out of the ordinary for us, we will take a day of game shoot around. We haven't been doing those since COVID, but we will do one tomorrow since it was a short turnaround.
Paul, go ahead.
Can you kind of just talk about, I guess, your team's psyche at this point? Really, really tough loss, coming off a tough loss, and I know you could probably didn't do anything yesterday, but what was your feeling coming off that loss?
I checked in on everybody. We did stuff. We didn't practice. We didn't have mandatory anythings, but I checked on a lot of the kids that have been playing heavy minutes. So we did some stuff, I think, to help us. Paul, we've been talking about it along the way. So I do think this group's greatest quality is their self-awareness and their understanding of, what we were trying to get accomplished and how hard it is to win at Georgia and how hard it is to win at South Carolina and how hard it is to beat anybody that's ranked in the top 25 this year. I would be lying to you if I told you that all of our confidence isn't a little bit shaken in some shape, form, or fashion, and we certainly need a ball to bounce our way to maybe get a little bit of that going. But we're not defeated. There's no discouragement. Everybody's on the what can we do to value one possession whenever it is. It's not just that last 0.9 seconds. It's not the last 0.4 seconds. Those are the ones that make SportsCenter top two plays. But the play I was really upset most about was when we made a free throw and we had four people back in transition defense and they ran down there and shot a layup. I don't know how that happens. I've been coaching. I coached seventh grade boys basketball for a long time, and that never happened in that game. So there's lots of stuff that we're learning. I do think we've developed a callous toughness about us. We carry a little bit of a badge of honor that we've got a 6-loss team that's ranked in the top 20. I keep looking at all these net numbers, and we've played 11 teams in the top 50, and some people haven't even played 11 games yet. So we're all about keeping it in perspective, and I get it. In a normal year, I probably would have different feelings, but knowing what this group set out to want to do, to play as many games as they could against the best possible competition, I think we just continue to do that every week.
Thanks,
Brett, go ahead.
Mike, how does UConn compare talent-wise with the likes of a Baylor, a South Carolina, Texas A&M?
Right there, probably. You could argue more talented. You could argue that with any of those people you mentioned, they've got potential freshman of the year candidate and Paige Beckers. They had the number one player in the country and Kristen Williams, who we all know. Everybody on there's got an All-American title attached to it, and he does as good a job as anybody in the history of our game of putting those players together and developing roles, and then building his roster with people that fit needs. So incredibly talented at every position and deep. So that's why they're ranked where they are, and people talking about them a chance to win another national title.
Scotty, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, I was wondering, just what your relationship with Gino was like, and if there are any personal interactions that y'all have shared that kind of jumped to mind.
Yeah, we've had several. I got lucky early in my career when I worked for Kathy Miller at Tulsa. He had recruited her when she was a player at Virginia, when he was assistant coach back there. So I got a chance to meet him very early on and hang out with him on the road and learn from him. And then at some Nike trips, we've had an opportunity to play some golf together. I can't beat him on the golf course for sure. We'll try basketball tomorrow night. But, yeah, we've had some interactions. We were at the Final Four together in 2016. when we had Washington there. UConn was on the other side of the bracket, so we hung out at a lot of those events and festivities that go around that. And he's just been somebody on the road that anytime that we have an opportunity to talk, we get together.
What kind of impact has he had on your career? Just, you guys met early on, but what just lasting impact he's had?
Yeah, just a lot of it by example, and then we went up there and watched them practice one time. Their former SID was our SID at Xavier, so he's just been a really an open book, and I don't. He's not a person I call for advice. He's not in that. He's got a lot of other people that he does that with that have been in his coaching tree, but he's somebody on the road I'll talk to about, how he sustained some things, because I haven't been in that situation yet. I've been places where we've been building, not necessarily sustaining and growing and do what he does. And I think that's the hardest thing to do in all of sports. I think when you look around, getting to the top sometimes is a lot easier than staying at the top. And for them to do what they've done in our game the last 25 years, the number of Final Fours, the number of national championships, and I think he progresses our game. I think he's been somebody for me, like, there's early in my career, people are like, well, why aren't you coaching men's basketball? What, or have you ever thought about coaching men? And they say that to Gino all the time. He might take the UConn men's job. Oh, he's not. We like coaching women's basketball. I don't think that's just that. And he's been that person that I look at all the time. And he could have coached an NBA team. He could have coached a number of men's college teams. He likes women's basketball, and he wants to promote that game. And so that's what I've always looked to him for. I get a kick out of it. He can say a lot of things I can't say. So I sometimes go, wow. Someday when I get it's not going to, by the way, it's not going to take 11 national championships here. Right? If we get 2 or 3, I'm going to start having some strongly but we listen to him, and I think he's got a very neat outlook. I think he's super informed. He's not just talking about stuff just to get a soundbite. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about, and it's intriguing to see. He's diversified. He's been somebody, like, when we decided not to practice as much, he was somebody I called, and he said, do it. He goes, we don't do anything during the summer. He said, we don't even practice. I don't send my kids home with a workout. Let them get away. And when you hear the people that are doing that at that level, then it gives you a little bit of confidence to try it and try new things. And that's what I think he's been so great for our game for.
Dudley, go ahead.
Yeah, landing girls like Elena Eaton and Jersey Wolfenbarger here in the state, how important is that to continued success and just showing kids in state that the program is building and getting to where you want to be?
That's that. I think that's evidence, Dudley. We use that word a lot. That gives you, when the in-state kids, when your school is good enough and playing a good enough schedule and competing for them to stay home, I think that's a sign of evidence that you're doing things the right way. I completely understand why Kristen Williams went to UConn. I get it. And as bad as it hurt when I was here the first time, I got why Shakina went to Tennessee. I don't want it to be that easy of a decision anymore. If they go there, that's fine. We're not going to get them all. We're never going to get them all. But I don't want it to ever to be a no from the day they start picking the ball up. So I think that's a good sign for us. I think it has to continue. And then now for it to continue, those kids need to have success here. And I think that's what continues that. I think that's what gives them, the younger kids, the path that they can play within a tank of gas from where they grew up and still be on ESPN. I think this is our 3rd or 4th game on ESPN this year, isn't it, Mario? Or a bunch. They can play people that have won national championships. We played everybody but Notre Dame this season that's won a national championship since the turn of the century. So you got to give them opportunity, and then they have to have success. And I think, you see that happening, for Coach Muss over there with Moses and these in-state kids and it takes some time because they're smart. They're educated. They understand what, they need to do to keep their career going in basketball. And I'm glad that we're now in the conversation with all these kids, that at least we have the opportunity to recruit them.
Jason, go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned confidence, and I have to wonder if you, leading up to this game tomorrow, do you draw back from the confidence of playing well and beating Baylor, and then going back to the last 2 years in the tournament, beating South Carolina, beating A&M, and having a lot of pieces from those teams still around to maybe take on a team like UConn tomorrow?
Yes. And you know what? Even losing close games, you can build confidence that way if you do it right. And I think our group goes back and they look at 34 to 35 minutes of the Georgia game, or 32 or 33 minutes of the A&M game. So, yeah, but to your point, yeah, we're the last team to beat South Carolina. I keep hearing their SEC win streak keeps going up. Well, the last team to beat them was us. And I think we talk about that. And our kids know that we have a puncher's chance every night against these guys if we do what we're capable of doing. And now I do think through, the pain of losing, they've learned the value of every single possession. First possession, third possession, 23rd possession, they're all worth the same amount of points. Don't let it come down to that last one. And we do draw back on past experiences, and then the talk today will be, hey, we're not playing against Sue Bird and Rebecca Lobo and Tina Charles and Diana Taurasi, and you can just keep going and going and going. Their Hall of Fame reads like the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. We're playing against kids their age. They've played against these kids in McDonald's All-American games. They played against them during the summer. And we don't have to beat them like in a best of 7. It's a one-night thing on your home floor in front of as many people as COVID is going to allow us. I think we're headed towards. So just, again, having self-awareness, talking about it, not letting there be any uncertainty or any, thing hanging out there that's not a fact. Let's talk about the facts. And be ready when they tip it up to value every single possession and make the most of every opportunity. And the score will take care of itself. That's what this group knows. The score usually indicates the team that deserved to win. It really does. And I think after we looked at the film, we didn't deserve to beat Georgia because we did allow a layup with 4 people back. You shouldn't win that game. We had some kids that played 30 minutes and didn't get a rebound. Not one. Combined, I got the same number I got. So I think there are lessons learned, and we still have some confidence. It's not shattered. It's not broken. It's not gone. But we do need to draw back and know that we're capable. And I think we've got plenty of evidence to do that with.
Russell, go ahead.
How do you see pace playing out in this game? Gino's mentioned that they're too young to, kill the shot clock and try to execute late, but they also don't want to run with you guys. So how do you see the pace playing out? And is it that big of a factor, really?
Don't fall for that. They can run. They can play. Go back and look at the last time St. Francis tried to run with them in the NCAA tournament. I think they had 100 at half. It was 96. That's a buddy of mine, Joe Haig, up there, and he said, hey, we're just going to go run with them. I think they had 96 at halftime. They can run. They can play fast. He is going to set a number. I don't know what the number is, but I watched his press conference yesterday. He's going to set a number with his team and say, don't let them get to this number. They will be very committed defensively. They can run. They're very, very capable of playing at a number of paces. And I think he's given us respect and we appreciate it, but I ain't falling for it. Not falling for it. I know they can. I've seen them do it. They've got the kids. They do as good a job. Them and Stanford, I put up there 1-2 in the country and a lot of this, credit goes to his staff. He's had the same staff for such a number of years with Shea Ralph and Chris Daly, and now he's got Jamil back with him. So they put together an incredible game plan. The things we're best at, they will really challenge us to be able to do, and they do as good a job of that as anybody in the country.
All right, follow-ups for UConn.
Hey, Coach, can you just talk about, he talked yesterday about that it wasn't always easy to get those return games, like getting Kristen Williams to play back here, and there's not always that person this year who's going to jump up there and say, sure, let's play. I mean, it's a big deal to on your side. You like to do that and get kids return games close to home. So how big a deal is that to have her and to give her that opportunity to play here?
Well, I think it would be hypocrisy at its highest level for me to go out and expect opponents to play us to bring Taylor back home to SMU or Michaela back to those areas and then turn around and not do the same thing. I mean, it just would be hypocrisy at the highest level. So we're not going to be that way. And yeah, it is hard. There's a lot of people that would have said, she never coming back in this state. That's not the right way to be. It's just not the right way to be. It's not the right way to grow our game and treat people and be. So, you know, when they were going to play in Little Rock, you know, Coach Foley was going to play them down there. And when that game fell through, that was kind of that seed that was like, hey, because we would have played them too, you know, but she's from Little Rock. She's not from Fayetteville. It'll be like, you know, if Oregon State wants to bring Sasha back at some point. So I think you have to do those things. If you get out of alignment, if you become that guy that, well, how come you didn't bring that kid home? The word travels in our game. Our circle's very, very small. So we have to be willing to do that if we ever expect anybody to reciprocate that. So, and when we'll go back, you know, we'll go back to UConn. We probably could have gotten the game without a return attached to it. Probably could have said, hey, you need a game, you want to bring out, you know, that's also not the right way to be in my book. So we'll go back up there at some point. He was generous enough to allow us to say at a later date, you don't ever want to go back up there with too young of a team and crush somebody's confidence. And there's a chance we could have a young team next year, depending on what our seniors do with their extra year of eligibility. So we kind of left that out there, but we will return to Connecticut at a later date.